real woman's body and a real man's body. There's a difference. And you can look at them and tell. Now, if they've got clothes on, heavy clothes or something, and all you can see is the face and the hair, sometimes you can be fooled. But when they're stripped down wearing the little pasties things and thongs and that kind, I'm sorry. I don't care if you cut it off or not. You still look like a guy. And then people are going gaga over this Carmen. This is sick. This is sick. I'm not a fan of this. Tim Curry, the well-known British actor who's done a lot of American films. Somebody once asked him if he had any regrets in any of the film choices or roles that he chose, and he said Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, you have to understand, Rocky Horror Picture Show is considered to be a massive cult classic. I've seen it I don't know how many times. If you're in the Syracuse, New York area, there's a theater out in Mattydale called the Hollywood Theater. It's still a single-screen theater. And I think they still show it every year, right, around Halloween. Maybe they stopped now, I don't know. But we used to go there. They used to, show it, have Rocky Horror Picture Show midnight showings. And you go there and you have all the people, characters dress up as a characters, parading around the theater. And I remember the first time I went, they told me to wear a hoodie, so I did. Next thing I know, the toast is being thrown all over the theater, and rice and water is being sprayed all over the place during different scenes, and that's why you had to wear a hoodie. But it was a fun movie. It was a fun time, and people, they actually knew the dialogue, line for line. People were actually repeating what they were saying, how they were saying it, in the cadence that the actor was saying it. They were on point. It was amazing. And every time I went to it, it was just a blast to go and experience that. And it's a huge cult film. It's made like $1 billion since its release. It's still making money. It's incredible, actually. But he said his biggest regret was doing that movie. And when asked why, because, he said, well, I'm a man and I should always play a male part. In other words, he was regretting playing the part of a transvestite. One of the songs is, I'm such a sweet transvestite. I guess he regrets doing that. The fans don't seem to care. He went on to be a major star. I think it took him a while to get recognized here in the U.S., but he went on to become a major star in the 80s and early 90s. Clue. Yeah, Clue. Another. Not only did it do extremely well at the box office, but it's become a cult classic as well. People always. I had the VHS of. I have the DVD of Clue. I think with all three of the. Remember that when it first came out, they had 3 different endings to the movie. And it really depended on the theater that you saw it and which ending you saw. And it was a brilliant marketing plan. Because in every major market, there were different theaters that had all 3 endings. So you didn't know which ending was at which theater. And people were going to see the movie multiple times to see the different endings. It was a brilliant marketing move. Brilliant. One of the smarter things Hollywood has done as far as movies. I don't know about the Star Wars thing though. I'm still. I've seen the trailers now, and I'm still scratching my. I don't know if they're just bringing this up. If Disney leaked this type of thing or not, just to create some controversy to give more. More airtime and talk time to about the movie coming out around Christmas time. But I just do not. I've watched them again, and I don't see where this. I don't understand where people are saying it's a anti-white movie, anti-white person movie. I don't. Although every time I see the trailers, I get more questions. And now they have another question. Well, we've seen, in trailers, we've seen a bulk of the original cast. We've seen Han and Chewie and Princess Leia. But we haven't seen the biggest one of them all. Luke. Where's Luke? Which some people are speculating now that Dark Jedi, obviously, that's in the trailer is Luke. Remember now in the first series, the first three, Luke had he had trouble controlling and staying out of the dark side. He had trouble. He almost submitted. He had trouble, so maybe he eventually. We'll find out. I guess December 18th it opens. I don't think any of the Star Wars people regret doing Well, maybe in the second series. I don't know. Is Lando Calrissian in? Billy D. Williams, is he in? I don't know if they're bringing that character back, but I don't know if people in the second series, the second trilogy, regret doing it or not. But it didn't affect at least a couple of them. I think the main star Hayden Christensen, it probably affected his career negatively, but because he didn't have any talent to begin with. My own opinion. Some other people may find him to be a fine actor. I didn't. Hey, there is a new poll out there. New poll. I know. I always have to caveat this the poll thing. I'm not a huge believer in polls because polls can be skewed just about in any direction that you want them to go. Just by who you ask and how you ask and when you ask and where you ask. So there's actually a science behind developing questions for polls. I'm telling you seriously. In any case, here's something from youngcons.com. A new poll. Ben Carson passes Donald Trump in poll, and he's now on top. So I guess, they're saying this race just continues to leave certain people stunned. In a newly released Quinnipiac poll conducted among likely caucus goers in Iowa from October 14th to October 20th shows Dr. Carson in first place at 28%, Trump in second place a distant 20%, and Rubio with 13%, while Cruz has come up a bit to 10%. The rest of the candidates are polling in single digits. Now, this is a lightning bolt across the Republican Party field, said MSNBC's Joe Scarborough. This is a poll that stuns people. What? How did Dr. Carson jump so far ahead of Trump like this? They were running neck and neck, and now all of a sudden he's 8 points up. We'll just have to see because we do know that oftentimes polls get things very wrong. Quite like exit poll. People used to think that exit polls were just so dead on, but when they were doing an exit poll for the first presidential run of Obama, they had Obama coming out with a huge majority landslide from the voter. And when the votes were all tallied, they were sitting around scratching their heads saying, wait a minute, by these exit poll numbers, he should have gotten more votes than he had. Well, because people lie. People lie when they're asked poll questions a lot. You'd be surprised how often. If somebody ought to do a poll to ask, an anonymous poll, if people have actually lied, if they've been polled for one, and if they've lied to a pollster. You'd probably find a very high percentage of people will admit, yeah, I lied. Now, me personally, I think, over the past 10 years, I think maybe I've been polled once. I don't get polled. I don't know why. I have. Oh, do you get polled? I have. Yeah, I think I've been. I think I was polled once, and that was back in the 2000 singles. Maybe around 7 or 8 or something like that. I don't. But because it wasn't about Obama, and it wasn't even about a candidate. It was about a particular. I don't even remember the issue. It was about an issue. That's the only time I've been polled that I can recall. I don't know who they're calling or who they're asking because, and again, I didn't get exit polled. I've never been exit polled. Anywhere I vote, nowhere. Never, never, never. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going or who they're asking or there must be like this list of people that poll that you go and you call and ask these questions. But I don't really know a lot of people who've been polled, actually, to tell you the truth. I know quite a few people. Maybe I should take a poll. I should take a couple of polls. One poll should be, have you ever been polled before? And have you ever lied to a pollster? Maybe I might do those over on Facebook. We'll see. I mean, that's it'd be interesting to see the results of that. And obviously it won't be scientific because you don't know. You won't know your sample. And we have people out there telling, oh, yeah, I love to see polls that come, there are some polls that say that, the error rate is as low as 2%, 2 to 3%. And you have some polls that the error rate is 4 to 6%. That's a huge swing. 4 to 6%, being off by 4 to 6% is huge. And yet, the media latches on to these kind of polls. You got to read the fine print. But anyway, you got right now from Quinnipiac, which is, known as a decent, respected poll, has Dr. Benjamin Carson in the lead with 28% and Trump a distant second with 20%. Now, 8 points is a big point spread. And then there's another 7 points between Trump and Rubio. So those are big because they eclipse any error rate that is currently acceptable for polls. So even if you were to put in a massive error rate under for Carson and take away that percentage, he'd still be in the lead. That's how big 8 points is. And if you take away that error rate, Trump would still be in second place above Rubio. So that's how big those spreads are. So that's also something that is very important to look at when you're looking at these polls, is what their error rates are, and how what the difference is between the points. Because if they would have said that Carson has 25% and Trump has 23%, but Carson's in the lead, well, that's well within an error rate, and that might be wrong. Trump might actually be slightly ahead of Carson. But since there's the 3-point difference, that's well within an error rate. But 8 points up, no, it looks like Carson's overtaken Trump. Well, it's not a national poll yet, but I don't know. Is this the precursor? Is this where the Donald starts to slide? The closer we get to actual voting time, primary time, and caucus time, will the Donald be able to hold on? Will Carson be able to hold on? Or will people start to realize themselves that maybe one of the polished politicians like Rubio is probably a better bet? I'm not saying he is a better bet. I'm just saying I wonder if the American voter is going